Outdated laws and regulations, they's gots to go. Ain't nobody got time for that. This is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Take a look at the piece on your screen, unless you're driving, in which case you should keep your hands on the wheel, motorist, at 10 and 2. This piece titled, UK Financial Conduct Authority provides a role model for digital asset regulation. And this was written by Michelle Bond. She is a Ripple employee. Here she is on screen. Her title is Global Head of Government Relations at Ripple. So there's her Twitter profile. So I'm going to be running through this with you. It's a great write-up. If you want to read it in whole, I will go ahead and link below. For the sake of time, I'm going to run through primarily this piece from A&B Crypto about it, which I think summed it up pretty well, actually. And then I'm going to share with you some tweets that I found fascinating in the world of crypto, and then I'll wrap up the video with this piece from Cointelegraph titled, People Will Choose a Currency That Government Can't Control, Pompliano. So it's Anthony Pompliano from Morgan Creek Digital. Before we get going, though, if you would please delicately tap that like button, and if you are a fan of Ripple and XRP, go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel. It'll be the best thing you do all gosh darn day. All right, so let's dig in here. So this one was titled from A&B Crypto. Ripple executive commends UK FCA's digital asset guidelines, calls for update of outdated laws and rules. The current regulatory frameworks have muddied the water, claims one of the world's leading blockchain players, Ripple. While the Brad Garlinghouse-led firm believes that policymakers have made commendable efforts in the digital assets and blockchain space, there's a lack of understanding in terms of the fact that there is a need for a clear and consistent language and regulatory approach. In a recent release titled UK Financial Conduct Authority provides a role model for digital asset regulation on Ripple Insights, the firm commended the FCA's attempts to classify digital assets and provide companies with some sort of clarity on whether they will need to be regulated and how to become compliant by categorizing digital assets into exchange, utility, and security. Authored by Ripple's Global Head of Government Relations, Michelle Bond, Ripple's latest post read, quote, businesses need this clarity on classification. As they work to build solutions for a particular region, it is essential that they understand the boundaries of what is permissible. Similarly, governments require a clear guidelines in order to recruit new companies and promote emerging technologies that can lead to job gains and tax revenues. And so this is incredibly important, especially for me. Okay, so we're all engaging in ethnocentrism. I'm sitting here in the United States. I would like the United States to do well. I mean, I want the whole world to do well, but I'm just saying this is my own backyard. This is where I live. And as I see other countries taking charge, leadership positions as it pertains to regulatory clarity for this asset class, I just see, and it's fact, it's not even a question of is this happen, it's just to what degree, but blockchain-related companies, cryptocurrency companies, whatever you want to call it, businesses building on top of blockchains and ledgers within the asset class, they're leaving. Like some of them are leaving, and others aren't able to move forward in as meaningful a fashion. Ripple would be one of them as well. Okay, so fine, they're staying put in the San Francisco area, looks like it. And Ashish Burla, he's one of the senior vice presidents at Ripple, he cited the fact that, I'm going to have to paraphrase here, but when he was posing a question to Hester Pierce of the SEC, he was just stating the fact that, well, first of all, he had concern that companies over in Asia were, thanks to lack of regulatory clarity here and more clarity over there, certainly that's where the innovation is going. But he's also talking about in terms of the way in which Ripple is able to build out their client base, and as it pertains to banks utilizing a blend of xCurrent and xRapid, adoption a little bit more tricky. Just think that with the nature of banks, they just are really conservative entities. And so it's of paramount importance that this actually gets cleared up here. And so I am really glad that Ripple is being a leader in this way. It just trying to nudge regulators and lawmakers along, because there isn't not really a whole lot of other people working in the space that are kind of doing that. Some people like the anarchy aspect, for example, right? I don't. I say, look, governments and banks are not going away, and they shouldn't go away. That's my stance anyway. And then the piece continues here. While enabling innovation to unfold, Ripple believes that FCA guidelines can play a pivotal role in protecting consumers. The Post also cited the example of the evolution of early internet regulation, which was previously governed by a framework originally written for transistor radios and rotary phones, and the subsequent release of the Framework for Global Electronic Commerce, after realizing the need for a separate set of principles that or to accelerate the growth of global commerce over the web. And so that comparison, I always liked that comparison, and the first time I heard that, Michelle brought it up in an interview with, I think it was Monica Long, that's her name, right? Yeah, another Ripple employee. They had a little session, which I covered in a previous video. That may have been, I don't know if it was a month or two ago. It seems like it was a while back. But I found that fascinating. Think about this. So the way in which the internet was being regulated back then, it was a framework originally written up for transistor radios and rotary phones. Yeah, let's not go ahead and shoehorn the existence of the internet from a regulatory perspective into that framework. Let's not do that. And similarly, let's just maybe write up some new stuff for the sake of regulatory conditions around cryptocurrency asset class. Can we do that? I think that sounds reasonable. Anyway, the firm stated that concerned institutions need to recognize the differences between technologies instead of enforcing the same set of regulations on different industries. The Post read, quote, countries that take the lead on these frameworks will be better positioned to attract capital, companies, and jobs, particularly since blockchain technology is here to stay. And can I just take a moment to, especially, I said something along these lines in the last video, I really want to say it again, especially when we're in times of turmoil price-wise. Actually, I come to think of it, I haven't checked the price of XRP today. But anyway, it's been bad the last week, right? Blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies are here to stay. People are just acting in a frenzy because they don't know what the hell they're doing. It's just like, they're like lemmings sometimes, right? Can I say that? Nobody's offended by that. But there's the FOMOing in, and then there's the panic selling collectively. Come on, it has nothing to do with fundamentals. I don't care. It is here to stay. I just wanted this little side note. Anyway, stating that other regulatory bodies of other countries can take cues from the recently released FCA guidelines, the Ripple exec added, quote, digital assets and blockchain need well-defined rules that should be consistent enough with one another such that companies can operate globally without fear. Which indeed is a rather good point, as former Ripple employee Bob Way stated. Yeah, he was Ripple's 10th employee, and he said half-jokingly, only half-jokingly, I think anyway, that they didn't know if the FBI was going to kick in their doors one day in the early days of Ripple. Because from a regular, not that they thought they were doing something wrong, but it's just, it wasn't properly regulated space, and so the fear was real, right? Anyway, Bond went on to state that financial players and companies have continued to rely on outdated laws and rules due to the uncertain regulatory climate. In the payment sector, transactions are inefficient and take days to complete. According to Bond, RippleNet seems to address these inefficiencies of the legacy institutions while providing transparency and eliminating the need for pre-funded accounts, a subject that was highlighted by Brianne Madigan, Ripple's head of global institutional markets, at the OECD Global Blockchain Policy Forum in 2019. Rather than replacing fiat currency, Ripple claims that it seeks to leverage digital assets to solve the significant problem of trapped capital in pre-funding in the traditional banking system by positioning RippleNet as a backbone of the cross-border payments realm. So, I think that was a fine piece by AMB Crypto. I think they did a real good job summing things up here. And again, if you want to check out the whole piece from Michelle Bond, I'll link below. All right, check out this tweet, given what I just covered with you. This is from Michael Arrington, creator of Arrington XRP Capital. He tweeted this out. And I do not share this sentiment, but I find him. I like this guy. He's very fascinating. So, I kind of hope he's joking. But he retweeted this out. Too many of the quote unquote leaders in crypto take pride in a pat on the head from the SEC. I yearn for the more anarchic past where real change could happen. Well, I sure as hell don't. I sure as hell don't. I want regulatory clarity, and it just like any other asset class, crypto does indeed need to be regulated, and I like that certainty. So, I assume he's serious. I hope he's joking, but if he's serious, that's fine. He can have a different opinion than me, but I found it fascinating nonetheless. So he's saying he yearns for the anarchic past of what, like back in olden days of like 2013, or is that what we're talking about, like 6 years ago or whatever it was, even probably just 4 or 5 years ago. Oh, I don't know about all that. That's not real. That's not where you're going to find real progress, though. And especially for the adults in the room, Ripple, that would not be the right path. If you want to have XRP be adopted as a bridge currency, let's not go back to the past. I would say no. All right, now this tweet, I got this from fellow XRP YouTuber Kevin Cage. This is kind of comical. I think it's a legitimate typo, but it made me laugh, and I decided I wanted to share it with you. So here's a tweet from, this is Stuart, @Stuart_XRP. Pre-edition 2019, published annually, the Islamica 500 is a business guide providing hard-to-find biographical details for 500 of the world's most prominent and influential personalities in the Islamic world and economy. Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple CEO, is number 232. And as you can see here, let me go and pull this up on the main screen. They have the CEO of Ripple listed as Brad Garlinghouse, B-R-E-A-D, Brad Garlinghouse. So Brad Garlinghouse is the CEO of Ripple, who provides global financial settlement solutions to enable the world to exchange value like it already exchanges information, giving rise to an internet of value. Oh, man, that's on level with crypto media back. Because crypto media, I always give them a hard time because it's part of a requirement. If you're writing a crypto media article, you need to write it and then never reread your work checking for errors, whether they be factual, spelling, grammatical, whatever it is. You need to write it and then just set it and forget it. Just hey, whatever it is, man. Let it be. And so when I saw this, I was like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of in line. So there you go. So there you go, Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple's CEO. All right, last piece for this video, Cointelegraph. People will choose a currency that government can't control. Pompliano. The future will not bring competition between digital and non-digital currencies, but between monetary policies, according to Anthony Pompliano. Pompliano made his comments on CNBC Squawk Box September 27th. Ultimately, he believes people will choose Bitcoin as a currency that governments can't control. Pompliano was being questioned on how Bitcoin can remain a store of value once the dollar and other currencies have become digital. Firstly, he said if he were the U.S. government, he would tokenize the dollar immediately, noting that China is creating a digital yuan and other countries would follow suit. All money would eventually be digital, he said, and the competition will be between different monetary policies. However, the digital yuan becomes available, but a digital dollar is not, and then countries will find it easier to buy the yuan, threatening the dollar's position as the global reserve currency. And I would like some more clarity from him on this. I heard him say this, and by and large, find there's physical cash and metallic currency, which is the bane of my existence. Oh my God, metal circle money. I hate coins. Go away, coins. And then paper money second. That's a close second in badness. No physical money for me. But anyway, the reason I said that is I wanted to state that the U.S. dollar, outside of what I just cited, it is digital. It's just ledgers. They're traditional ledgers. So I don't know if maybe I'm kind of parsing them out here, but it makes me think, was he specifically stating something more along the lines of cryptocurrency style? Because I'm not so sure. I was trying to pull from memory here. I don't know. I know what he's talking about with the Chinese story. I've covered that, but pulling from memory, I think that it's not actually a cryptocurrency. So if there's some sort of new way in which this is digital, okay, fine. But there isn't clarity around that, and I'm not sure how to what degree this actually matters. And he's talking about displacing the dollar, and I don't know. It goes a little far, but anyway. Piece continues, when pressed on the original question, Pompliano said that he ultimately believed that people would opt for something that is not manipulatable, nor seizable, nor censorable. And that kind of made me laugh because in terms of manipulatable, oh my God, the entire crypto asset class is specifically in terms of price, yeah, it's done getting manipulated. I think it's fair to say that, right? Anyway, the movement may be slow at first, he said, but people will ultimately choose a currency that the government can't control. Morgan Creek Digital co-founder Pompliano is a huge advocate of Bitcoin, recently suggesting that the pseudonymous inventor Satoshi Nakamoto should win the Nobel Peace Prize for its creation. Can you win the Nobel Peace Prize if you're living in anonymity and we don't even know if you're one person because it could have been a team of people that's actually Satoshi Nakamoto. Is that possible even? Is Satoshi Nakamoto even still alive? Big questions, man. Big questions on a Saturday afternoon. Well, that's it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!